What's up guys, this is Professor Spawn. In the last tutorial we have seen about the linked hash map. Today we are going to see about what is exactly a tree map. So before we jump into the implementation, let's create a class. So I'm going to right click on inside a map package and I'm going to create a new Java class and I'm going to name this as TreeMap demo, right? And let's create a static void main or main method, right? So also let's create a map interface and I'm going to again create the same thing. Instead of integer, let's say I'm going to create a string, right? And let's import this map interface. And I'm going to name this as, let's say, map, and I'm going to create a tree map here. So before we jump into the implementation, let's go into this class. So if you go into this class, we have a tree map which extends an abstract map, and it actually implements the navigable map. So this is because the tree map actually sorts. Let's say, for example, you insert a record for John, right? And you insert the first record you insert for John, the second record you insert for Abraham, and the third record you insert for Charlie. If you print out the tree map, it will actually sort it based on the alphabetical order. So the first will be Abraham, then we have Charlie, and then we will have John, right? So whenever, let's say, your manager comes and tell you that create a dictionary in such a way that it should order the entries, it should order the entries alphabetically wise, right? So all the employee records named with A will come at first, with B will come at the second, with C come at the third. So it's basically like a contacts app. So if you have used an Android phone or a mobile phone rather, and if you have seen the contacts, those contacts are basically you know are aligned in such a way that the A's will come at first and then B's will come at second, and so on, right? So it's basically tree map is a sorted dictionary or sorted hash table. So it is quite similar to the rest of the you have seen about the hash map and you have seen about the linked hash map, right? So let's jump into this. So I have created a tree map instance here with a default constructor, right? And inside that constructor I have a comparator. So this comparator actually used for sorting the arrays, or sorting not the arrays but the record, right? So this comparator is used for sorting the record. So if you click on this, hover over this, it is actually a comparison function which imposes a total ordering on some collection of objects, right? So as it uses the tree map uses a comparator to sort the uh, hash table. So let's have some, this is actually a dictionary which actually accepts the first argument as string, and the second one is also a string. So I'm going to actually insert some of the records here. So I'm going to put out, let's say, for John, I'm going to put out, you know let's say John has, you know let's say, red house, right? I'm actually putting out, Henry, and Henry has a blue house. So I'm actually having a record of, the name of a person and then the house, the color of house they have. Also, I'm going to put out, let's say, has, Abraham, let's say, has orange house, for example. And also, let's put out, uh, Zareen. I'm going to put this name as Zareen, as, let's say, you know, black house, for example. This is just for the example. Let's try to print out the map. So if you notice, the first insertion is John, then we have Henry, then we have Abraham, and then we have Zorin. So let's see what happens when you run this. So when you run this, and you'll see inside the console, the first key or the first record inside this tree map is Abraham. Like I told you, the tree map, you know, sort the keys, sort the keys alphabetically. So if you notice, the first one is Abraham, the second letter in this record is H, right? So this is based on like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. So after A, if you compare from this record, then we have Henry. After H, we have J. So we have John. And then finally, we have Zareen, right? So let's put Zareen at first. And let's see that to have the understanding. So I have just put Zareen at the top. The first record I have put in is for Zareen, and again it is actually based on, it is actually sorting me the arrays, right? Sorting me the table, sorting me the record. So this is a good example. If you want to implement, let's say, a contact book, you should actually use a tree map. So this is why collection is important. So normally what happens is, whenever you are working anywhere in the software company, and you, if you have a requirement to implement, let's say, a phone book, the people actually go with an hash map, right? So because it's a default choice, and nobody really studies this collection very well. So if you know a tree map, right? So if you know that, okay, there is a tree map inside a collection, it actually provides me a data structure which stores the data in a sorted order. So why I should actually use hash map, and then again, sort based on an alphabetical order, and then implement the logic. So at first I could use tree map, and uh, your job is done. So it actually provides the similar functionality like the hash map. So I'm going to actually do an S out, and you can get, let's say, for example, Abraham record. You can also use the same methods we used it for get or default, let's say, any record. Let's say I'm going to have any default record to implement, let's say, default house. Just for example, this is a default house. So when I run this, it's very much similar to the hash map. It's just that it maintains the record in such a way that it's sorted alphabetically, right? So this is all about a tree map is, and instead of string, you could use integer. It will still be in a sorted order. So it's important to know these collections, because it becomes our job easy when we try to implement the complex software. So I'm not going to go deep into this, the various methods of tree map, but the main fundamental is that the keys are sorted, and it's a the good example for using this data structure is a phone book or a contact book. So in the next tutorial, I'm going to come up with a new topic. Till then, goodbye and see you.